Hello and welcome to another video game story time, and today's episode is hard to title for one reason and one reason only. I cannot remember the actual name of it. So the video title is probably something like Video Game Club, as basic as that is. I remember everything about the story I'm going to tell. I remember where I used to go. I remember the people I used to talk to. I even remember some of the names of the people, which is miraculous for me because I'm terrible with fucking names. I'm a face person. I will know your face. If I've seen you once, I will remember your face until the day I die. I honestly don't know why. I don't know why my brain works that way. If you tell me your name, I'm going to forget it almost immediately. Like, you'll have to tell me it 20 fucking times. I'll have to meet you multiple times before it finally starts to sink in. I'm just not a name person. So it's kind of fitting that I can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to say it. When I was a kid, I used to go to a church, and I've always hated church, I've always hated religion, I've always hated a lot of things like that. Autistic kid, so I never believed in any of it. Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, like the whole thing around Catholicism and Christianity and just all of that, just never believed. I am actually a spiritual person, as weird as it might sound, and I do have spiritual beliefs, but organized religion, I've never really, like, it all felt like it was too neatly wrapped up for something where people don't have any answers. Apparently they have all the answers, except their big thing is be nice and kind to people, but like they're just not ever at all. They're all horrible fucking monsters in my experience, you know, that kind of thing. So I used to go around to church all the time, every Friday, specifically for Video Game Club. And Video Game Club, the whole point was all of the local kids used to take whatever tech they wanted to, and there'd be groups of people sitting and doing things, and we'd all just be like playing games together. Not a LAN party, because it was before stuff like that existed, but it was like we'd take our Super Nintendo. There were a couple of girls who'd take their Mega Drive / Genesis, depending on the part of the world you're from, but for me it was a Mega Drive. There'd be people who'd take different Amigas, so Amiga 500, Amiga 600. There'd be people who'd take Commodore 64s, all sorts of old little consoles and old things, and I used to love it because I've always loved games, and it was one of the best ways to play a bunch of games. It was like a homemade arcade with a bunch of console stuff. But there were two girls, and they were older than me by quite some margin. I'm only like 6 or 7 at this moment in time, and for whatever reason, they always were just shitty to me. I'd literally never done anything, seen them before or anything, but whenever I tried to request to go on their console or anything, I would constantly be told that I was the only person not allowed to do anything. So, don't know what that was about. Genuinely don't. Still don't, and don't really care. But I was playing something on the Nintendo at one point. I was like using my own console essentially, and someone came up and asked, could they have a go? And I'm like, yep, absolutely, you sit and play on the SNES. And I went, and the only console free was the Mega Drive. And I walked up and I'm like, well, they're not around at the moment. And it turns out they weren't around because they had the game on pause. They immediately ran back over to me and was like, you're not allowed to touch that. And it's like, yes, I know, you always say, and I'm just going to watch. Just like, well, no, it's like, we really cannot beat this level. And I'm like, what's the game? Sonic. Now, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I like to actually try and show the footage of the game I'm talking about. Did you know that Sonic the Hedgehog 1's not available on the Nintendo Switch Online? I've got it in other places, but I can't, like, none of those consoles are set up, so I'm like, I'm just going to use Sonic 2. So they were playing Sonic, and they were on Marble Hill Zone 3. I believe it was called Marble Hill Zone. I remember the level. It's like grey and purple, lavender, bricks, and full of lava and stuff like that. They were specifically up to the Robotnik level. I'd never played Sonic before. My best friend growing up did actually have a Mega Drive, but this was before then, so I'd never got to play Sonic. I'd never even heard of Sonic. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, okay, so what's Sonic and what's the problem? What are you stuck on? Because I know you, for whatever reason, don't like me, but I am actually pretty good at games. And they were just like, we're good at games too, and we can't beat this level. And it's like, well, tell me a bit about the game. And it's like, one of them decided, you know what, maybe we should just let them have a go. And it's like, okay, I'm more than happy to have a go. Never played Sonic before. Marble Hill Zone 3 with Robotnik, beat it first try. The two of them immediately grabbed the controller off me because they wanted to play the next level. They'd never got that far as is, and they were on their last life and they could not get past that fucking level. So they were like, okay, thank you so much, now fuck off and go away because we still don't want you playing our console. That was actually fine, because at that point I was able to kind of get one over on them, and they died Like, I was walking away. They died right at the start of the level, and they were like, oh god, now we have to do that again. And I turned around and I actually said to them, well, just remember, I won't be doing it because you've just said I'm not allowed to use your console. So yeah, I managed to get one over on them, whilst proving I was actually decent at games. Because, again, I'd never touched the fucking controller before. It's not just a case of I'd never played Sonic. I'd never touched a fucking Mega Drive controller before. I still, to this day, think they're the weirdest controller ever made. I'm sorry if you like them, that's fine. We all have personal preference. But going from a SNES controller to that, I was like, how do people fucking use this? But, yeah, never played it before. Had constantly had a shitty attitude from these two, and still to this day do not know why, because they stopped coming to Video Game Club a couple of weeks after that. Not because of me or anything, just because their family was moving. And yeah, it was just one of those weird things of never played it, picked it up. Despite not knowing anything about it, my weird brain was like, this is kind of like Mario. You just go from side to side and you jump on the enemy's heads. Yeah, I've got this. Because I'd beaten Mario World so many times at that point. And the funny thing is, I actually don't particularly like Sonic. I'm not very good at Sonic. I've never sat down and beat one of these old school Sonic games ever. I think the closest I've came is I might have rolled credits on Sonic Advance 1 on the Game Boy Advance. Because I kind of like the Game Boy Advance ones a little bit. But even then, I never played 2 or 3 very much. But yeah, it was just one of those weird moments of, I'm content with this. I've got to play the console. I now know I don't actually like the controller, so I'm not missing out on anything. Yes, there's going to be other games, and it turns out, yes, there was Streets of Rage, all sorts of amazing games on the Mega Drive that I got to play via my best friend at the time, and I've got to play a bunch of them now as an adult, and absolutely love them. Other than the controller, the actual games on the console are brilliant. There's some truly fantastic stuff out there. But yeah, it was just nice to have that little fuck you moment to them, especially because they turned around and immediately after doing it, it wasn't even a thank you, it was a give me here and let me play it, and then for them to immediately die, and then to complain about having to beat that level again, which they still hadn't beat. Oh, it was really nice. Really fucking nice. One of those moments that really does stick with you, no matter how many brain injuries and trauma you have, it seems. So yeah, that's the story. And until next time, I've been Sky Fellowship, and yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is not available on the Nintendo Switch Online service at this moment in time. Honestly didn't know. Yeah, until next time, I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!